Welcome everyone, my name is Brendan Snyder. Thank you for joining me. If you're new to my channel and you haven't already hit the subscribe button, please do me a favor, click the button, leave comment, hit like. All those things help support my channel. I would greatly appreciate it. And as an added bonus, you'll be able to stay up to date on all that's going on in the world of music. Just like this, we're going to take a look at AC/DC's new album, Power Up, but this time we're going to take a look at the limited edition version of it. There's actually a separate review, full review for the standard edition on my channel. I'll leave it in the description below this video. I did that video 1 week ago when the album came out on November 13th of 2020, but here we are a week later. I finally got this one. I wanted to do a quick little review, discussion, and sort of unboxing of this just because I think it's so cool the way it operates. So I've got a little bit of different information here to provide you guys. So this album here is the long-awaited 17th studio album, and yes, of course, Brian Johnson is back on vocals. And 2020 is also the 40th anniversary of Brian Johnson joining the band. Amazingly, he's 73 years old this year, and I think he just sounds amazing on this album for being 73, but also just in the fact that he's Brian Johnson and a gravelly voice like that. I mean, how many years can that possibly last? But he's sounding really great on this album. It's their first new album in 6 years since Rock or Bust came out in 2014. It's the 11th studio album to feature Brian Johnson on vocals as the front man. It's also got a returning Cliff Williams on bass and Phil Rudd on drums. If you recall, at the end of the last tour, Cliff Williams decided to retire, and even before the tour kicked off, Phil Rudd was having some legal issues and thereby did not tour with the band at that time. Wasn't sure if he would even remain in the band at that point. So by the very end of the last tour, Rock or Bust, Angus Young was the only member left standing in the group at that point. So great to have all those guys back together, essentially a reunion at this point. The album was created around a stockpile of riffs that was left over from Malcolm Young, who unfortunately passed away in 2017. And the thing is, it was actually the funeral that was the impetus that brought all the guys together. Main person being, I think, Phil Rudd coming there, Angus talking to him, realizing he was a reformed person and they could actually have him back in the band, and he began thinking about actually getting all the guys back together, which is certainly what happened at that point. And, you know, many of the guys had not seen each other in a very long time by this point, but, you know, they did come back together. They've now recorded this album here, and personally, I think it's their strongest album in 2 decades. I loved Rock or Bust. I've got no issues with that. I think it was a fantastic album. I know a lot of people didn't particularly like it or thought it wasn't up to par because it wasn't, didn't have Malcolm Young on it, kind of a thing like that. But I do think that the album was really great. I sort of see this album here as sort of akin to it. Both of the albums have sort of short, straight to the point rock songs on it. They're not very drawn out. Guitar solos are very short to the point as well. Some are almost non-existent on it. Rock or Bust had 11 tracks on it and was only 35 minutes long. And this one here has 12 tracks and is 41 minutes long. So both of these albums are very short, which I think is also part of the reason that I feel that these two albums are related to one another. I do like this album better than Black Ice. I like it better than Ball Breaker. But I don't think that, or I would say that I think Stiff Upper Lip from 2000 is a classic album. It can't be beaten. So that's why I'm saying that I believe that this album here is the best one in the last 2 decades. Just a quick bit of trivia on this. There's some cool things that have been developing or coming out on it over the last week or so. Let me run through those for you here. So one thing is that this is the first album in 35 years since 1985's Fly on the Wall that it does not have the word rock in any of its titles, and I find that really interesting. I had to go back and actually check on that, and sure enough, there's like rock in one of the song titles or more. Rock or Bust had it in 4 of its song titles, so that was kind of an interesting point. And then also, first album since 1988's Blow Up Your Video to not include a title track. There is no song on the album called Power Up, and it's such a great title. I'm surprised there wasn't a song that was titled after that on here, but there's not. Cool thing, first single off the album, Shot in the Dark, has reached #1 on Billboard mainstream rock charts. And so AC/DC now has hit #1 5 times on those charts. Really cool for them. Also of note, the album has entered the charts at #1 in both the UK and their homeland, Australia. The other thing is, it has become the fastest selling album of 2020 in the UK. And then just announced this week, it has outsold all other albums for its debut week of sales here in the US. It has sold 114,000 physical copies. I'm sure some of it certainly has to do with the fact that they've got this limited edition version of it here. And when you add in digital sales and album equivalent sales from streaming, it has 121,000 albums sold for its debut week. Looks like it's going to enter at #1, but no word on that yet. If you guys don't know, entering the #1 on the Billboard 200 album chart is no longer solely based just on album sales. They now add in things like radio play, how well you're doing in social media, and all that sort of stuff. They have a whole bunch of metrics now that tally into that stuff. And it was the same way with Bruce Springsteen's latest album. It actually sold more physical albums than other artists, but another artist entered at #1 because they did better in all the other metrics that now tally up to determine who is #1. So we'll have to wait and see if this album enters at #1 on the US Album 200 charts. But by all accounts, it looks like it may well do that, which would be really great. And it would be the first time for them since Black Ice in 2008. And so on that high note, let's take a look at this. Here's the front cover of this. I mean, we know that from the standard edition, the side of it. Here's the button I'm going to push in just a moment. I'm going to show you how this thing lights up and what it does. But they really went all out here. You can see where the speaker is that the music is going to come out of, but they set this up like an amp. Even the bottom's got stuff on it, and then there's the back side of it, which does have track listing and everything on it there. And so if we start this thing up here, really like how it kicks in there with that blinking neon. And then we've just got lead single Shot in the Dark playing on it here as you watch the flickering, flashing AC/DC neon lights on this thing. And pretty cool the way they were able to do this on here. And then it'll just stay lit up like that for a little bit. I'm going to pop it off there so that I can show you now how you open it. If you pop this is a magnetic release here. And you can see that the album is housed inside there. And it's got 2 little finger pulls, so you can get in there nice and easily and then just slide out the album like this. And I did a full unboxing, with the booklet and everything in the standard review, so I'm not going to do that here. You can check that one out, but just so that you can see how that all works together. But ultimately, there you go. I mean, this is, the pretty cool thing. Now, it was $46 on Amazon. I will say I felt that was maybe a little much for this. If you guys remember or know about Tool's limited edition album that came with a video screen, it played a 10-minute movie on it and all of that, that actually cost less. That was for $42. This one's $46. But I mean, can you really go wrong with that? I mean, that's pretty bad, pretty amazing, little thing to have there as an AC/DC thing to just walk in, kick that thing off and have it go and play that lead single for you there just to kind of rock out to it, What else, right? So there you go. I will say, in closing on this thing here, This, AC/DC released their first album 45 years ago, 1975, if you can believe that. 2020 is also the 40th anniversary of their seminal album Back in Black. It has sold 50 million copies worldwide, which is just phenomenal. It is the number 2 all-time selling record worldwide. And in all, they have sold over 200 million copies of albums worldwide. And so this album here, Power Up, certainly looks like it is going to add to that tally nicely. Way it's already doing well in the UK, Australia, the US. I'm sure we're going to hear about it pouring in at number 1 in many other countries and doing very well, which is great in this day and age of streaming and everything, that a band 45 years plus can come out entering at number 1 in many charts and selling this many copies here. I believe it's worthy of the AC/DC name and only going to enhance their legacy. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and if you did, please leave your comments. Let me know your thoughts. If you're interested in the full review of this, do click the link below in the description. You can go check out the standard edition review and unboxing that I do there. All right, take care. Everyone have a good day, and I'll talk to you all real soon. Bye-bye.